Hello, hello. Welcome back to Lovers and Leaders with me, Dr. Sarah. How are you? Come in, take a seat. We are back at the glass door of everything, okay? We are going back in, all right? I'm going back in to check what the people are saying and how to answer some of their dire questions, all right? So, I see something here from the title is a senior administrative assistant, and this is what he or she says. And let's see if you can relate. I have been at my job for 12 years now, okay? I took a leadership role, and it is very stressful and affecting my mental health. I had to take a leave of absence because it got so bad. I wonder how long that leave of absence was. Okay. I have been looking at new opportunities with no luck yet. Well, of course, you see the job market. I do not want to go back there. Thoughts. So here's my opinion, all right, as an IO psych. 12 years, that's a long time. So I salute you, whoever this person was that wrote this into Glassdoor. I salute that long tenure. Yeah, you're not gonna get me there for 12 years straight and being stressed out. Not me. You're not, okay? But I salute you for grinding and finally waking up and saying, you know what? This is not my life, okay? So you took on a leadership role. You took a leadership role. I wonder how that happened because, you've been there for 12 years, so I can see, and I've witnessed this before, for folks being at a job for a long time, including myself, where it's like, they just either prep you for that leadership role to take it, or somebody leaves and you just kind of slip into the role, or maybe you are asking for some type of promotion, right? I'll be curious to see how you took that leadership role, because you said I took a leadership role. Probably was just handed to he or she, or somebody left and you were the next person to take on that role. So that happened. So, and the reason I'm bringing that out is because I have found that people who are high performing individuals in the workplace don't necessarily have leadership skills. Okay? They don't necessarily have leadership skills. See, there's a difference between somebody that's really great at high performance in project management. You can manage projects from the beginning to the end. You can, here and there, maybe have to collaborate with people here and then, right, to get the work done. But leadership has a different level, upper echelon thinking, all right? This is a lot of people management skills. There's a difference between the, tactical skills, all right, and then those soft skills. They call it soft skills. We need to come up with a different name, for God's sake. But those high performing emotional intelligence skills that make you a leader. You're dealing with people. And leadership requires influencing people. But I hold space for those type of leaders, like authoritarian type of leaders, that oftentimes use like a force tactic, threatening tactic, all right, very destructive type leadership skills. But the mere fact that he or she, this person saying that they took a leadership role and it's very stressful and affecting my mental health. Let me tell you something, sis, bro, colleague, you were not emotionally prepared to take on this leadership role. It sounds to me like I've witnessed so many times in the workplace that you are a high performer. You were there for 12 years. You've proved yourself, okay? And they said, let me give it to them, give you the job. So you were great at doing your, like I said, everyday tasks. You were very dependable, very reliable. You got the work done. But it doesn't mean that you have the cognitive skills to actually, first of all, manage your emotions, um, have your own self-regulation in high stressful environment like what I'm hearing here. And likely because you can't even manage yours very well, and I'm glad that you took a leave of absence, but you likely can't handle other people in your workplaces, you know, emotional issues happen in the workplace, because people come with all types of stuff going on in their lives, and they bring it in the workplace. I'll tell you something right now. I learned from my 20s dealing with some destructive leadership personalities that were over me. I always told myself, when I come to the workplace, I'm leaving my ish at the door, because when I come in, I want to provide good customer service to my internal colleagues as well as external partners. But was it easy every day? No. But I'm like, why would my colleagues have to pay for, my emotional issues that I may have from outside? It just doesn't make sense. So I always learn to compartmentalize, but not everybody does that. And I feel for this person, because I've had, in my past, when I really wasn't trained to, I wasn't knowledgeable enough of emotional intelligence back then. Um, but today, if I catch someone that's trying to give me stress like this person, yeah, it wouldn't work. I would just get them all the way together with some really high performing emotional regulation conversations. Okay, yeah. Um, but yeah, I have to say, I have to be honest with you, my friend, you weren't ready for the weight of leading people. And in a leadership role, you really got to know yourself. You have to have empathy for yourself so you can have empathy for others. And like I said, leadership requires influence, not forcing people to do stuff. So I'll be curious to know if you're very stressful, affecting your mental health, had to do with some internal struggles, push, pull, tension, conflict with other people in the workplace. It's highly likely, highly likely. Um, and I'm really sorry that you had to experience this. Like, being there for 12 years, you would think that after 12 years you would have had a good positive rhythm already in the workplace. But I'd be curious if you could have been, maybe you were in one department, and then you move to a different department, so you had to get to know different people. Yeah, I mean, I could see how that could have affected your stress level too. But usually 12 years, you would have got some level of positive rhythm in the workplace, and some positive social equity. I would have I would have hoped for. But yeah, affecting your mental health, um, that's not good. I would say, like I said, I'm happy that you took your leave of absence, but I would have to say that, again, part of being a leader and being mindful of the emotional regulation and the mental health of others, because being a leader, you should, the hope is you care for others. You also first need to care for yourself. So I would have to say to you, moving forward, don't leave your mental health dysregulation, or leave your stress to the 11th hour. Don't leave things so late. Don't leave your own um, health, all right, at the back burner. Don't abandon you, because just like what's happening here, you see, you don't want to go back. What happens is, at some point, you're going to want to abandon ship. All right. um, and it's really important, because I had to learn this too. It's really important that as soon as you know that your stress is getting too high, I'm all about taking off a mental health day as needed, or use your vacation for a staycation. It doesn't have to, your vacation hours, people, Don't have to just be for some lavish, extravagant vacation somewhere. Excuse me. I have been pro taking off a mental health day and just sit still and relax and just don't think about work. As a leader here, I'll be curious if you took your work home with you. Even though, I've had like a work phone, like some of you may have, there's been some benefits of having a work phone. Um, but these days of having a work phone and then taking your laptop home and having people having access to you via Teams, like Microsoft Teams, yeah, I can see you being constantly stressed. This is why having healthy boundaries is super important. Whether you're in the workplace, having lunchtime, lunchtime is my me time. You shut that door in your office. I know there's all this open door policy, but not during your lunchtime. What? Shut that door, pray, be still, meditate, catch up on a phone call with a family member or friend. Just talk about something different, right? Read. Okay, did I say pray already? Yes, pray. Okay, that's what I use my lunchtime for. Yeah, I can see that, honestly, whoever wrote this in, you really don't have good emotional management skills. And as a leader, if your internal fuel is just not fueling, you're not topping up with, taking care of yourself, like good self-care, it's going to spill over into your work life, and for sure spill over into your concentration levels to get work done, and even your patience levels with your colleagues that may be testing your nerves. They don't know that you don't take care of yourself. They just see you as a leader. And let me tell you something. I hope, there's some leaders that feel like they have to like work themselves to the ground. I'm telling you, I've seen leaders where, and I don't want to use that word leaders, because that word leaders is not for everybody. She says that it's a leadership role. So let's just say she or he is a manager, okay? Because like I said, not all people in leadership roles should have had a leadership role. You should have just had a project management role with no supervision type tasks. Because not everyone that's high performing needs to be supervising people, okay? So I'll be curious. They didn't say that, he or she didn't say that he or she supervises anybody, but leadership, usually you're definitely like supervising people because you're leading people somewhere, okay? If you're in a managerial role, directorship role, some type of supervisory role with people, you don't have to continuously prove yourself and work yourself to the ground. Because if you don't be careful, somebody right behind you is going to take your role because you can't keep up. As a leader, you should be looking fresh. You should be having a smile on your face. You're a leader. What? There's people looking at you like they want that role. And you're looking stressed. I mean, look at you. You said, listen, this is what this person said. I've been looking at new opportunities with no luck yet. Well, that's why your mind is all the way in knots and stressing, and you got this energy of desperation. I'm sure you're not even like crafting your resumes well or your cover letter well, because you're just in flight mode, and you're probably, like I said, you are missing the mark in probably the type of jobs you're trying to take, because you're not in alignment. You're in this fear state. So we've got to get yourself out of fear, because you just said, I don't want to go back. So that screams fear. There's a lot of anxiety going back. So what should you do? The first thing, I'm going to have to ask you to recognize that you are experiencing fear. You are experiencing some kind of worry, anxiety. And I'm going to need you to get to a place of awareness of why are you experiencing fear? Is somebody trying to push you out? Are you making mistakes in your work? Are you experiencing some conflict, some struggles with upper management, your colleagues? Where's the source of fear coming from? And I ask you to be aware of where the source of fear is coming from, is to then ask yourself or seek counsel from HR. Hopefully you have a good HR person that has the counseling abilities, or you ask your boss, how can you best address this situation? And this tells me it's not even clear from this post that you've actually spoken to anyone about this issue. And I'm wondering why you haven't. Is it because you're a leader and you feel like, you can't have a problem with people? You feel afraid that, you're not going to be taken seriously, or you feel afraid that they're going to think you're incompetent. Valid fears, but they're fears in your mind that could be completely diminished if you have actually a conversation and be authentic that you need help. People in leadership need help. They need help. Who said a leader doesn't need help? Let me tell you something. You're still an employee, my friend. All right? You're still an employee. Yes, you've taken a leadership role, but you're still an employee, and you should still be humble enough to say, I need help. So fear, work on that, identify that, and also your level of humility to ask for help. I'm not accusing you of pride, but I'm just tapping into the fact that some people in leadership, okay, that are not skilled with emotional intelligence, they operate in pride unconsciously. I don't need help. I'm a leader. They're not going to listen to me. They're going to think I'm incompetent. All type of excuses. And you run yourself crazy to the point you're like all on the computers, trying to look for a new job, very hastily, very desperately, missing the mark with job applications. I'm sure some HR people look at your resume like, ooh, and you're like, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back there. 12 years. Why is it taking you so long to even get to this point? It just tells me, I don't know what it is, but it's giving you were there for so long, and they said, you know what? Bob can take this job. Sue can take this job. It doesn't seem to me that you are very well prepared for leadership. And like I said at the top of the video, you're really good at your tasks, but not well trained in managing people. So, as I said, I would really encourage you to identify what's making you afraid and be really honest and authentic with yourself. I would encourage you to speak with a HR personnel, hopefully with the right counseling skills. I would encourage you to also seek within your job employee assistance programs, because employee assistance programs, they usually, from my experience, they have these free like therapy session programs where you can connect with a therapist or a counselor that for an X amount of time, so you can actually speak with a real counselor or therapist to walk you through your issues. I would also really encourage you to seek help with your manager or someone from upper management that has those good people skills to walk you through this before you decide to quit. Because one thing about me, all right, because one reason I got inspired to even do IO psychology is because early on in my career, I felt very ready to quit jobs, and I have, because of those destructive leadership behaviors above me. But today, baby, it will not happen again. I would not encourage anyone to feel forced out from a job that you may not be ready to leave. It sounds like you're ready to leave, but it's because of something that just needs to be addressed. And I understand when you're in that fight mode, just very anxious, you want to leave. I've experienced that before, but I'm telling you from my experience, if I had the knowledge I have now, in first of all, regulating your own emotions, take some courses about on that too. Take some courses, emotion regulation. Take some courses about conflict resolution. Take some courses in emotion intelligence. Okay? Take some courses about dealing with destructive bosses. You've got to get equipped. You've got to grab onto, learn a new mindset to deal with difficult people. You can't allow difficult people to drive you out because it will just keep happening. And that's what happened to me very early on in my career. It's like it happened in one job, with a female boss, and then it happened again with another female boss. And I'm like, oh my God, I had to get it together. Because you're gonna have those bad, crazy people with all types of demons up inside of them and psychological issues. But you that is well versed in, first of all, self-control, you will be able to control your environment to some degree, how people treat you. But one of my powers that I have learned, what I'm trying to communicate to you, is to have those difficult conversations. Make sure it's well recorded. And one thing I like to do is have the difficult conversation with the person I have an issue with. Yeah. I don't like to go HR first, to be honest. Yeah, that's, for me, I go to HR if it's really, really bad. And you know why? Because I want to believe and I want to achieve with my colleague that that respect of going to you first and creating an environment where you can have a conflict and resolve it and get back to work again. I feel like the bond between, because it's happened to me before, I experienced that where I was able to have that conversation and the person actually apologized at the end of it, and I also apologized. And I feel like it created a stronger bond between me and this person. It created a stronger respect for each other, and literally just a really great professional and even friendly collegial bond. It really was, really, truly. And we can laugh, we can kiki, we can talk about things outside the workplace, because it was almost like, a family member, you had a conflict and then you were able to resolve it, and then, you move on. I like to move on. So I want you to practice having these difficult conversations, but you yourself need to know, you need to be skilled in that. So that's why I invite you to take courses on that. But just be very true to yourself and be honest with yourself that, yeah, you're afraid of something and you want to resolve it. That's the thing. Do you want to resolve it? It looks like you want to leave, but I bet you any money, if I can sit with you and kind of, turn your mind around, there is a possibility for you to still stay at this job. You've acquired this leadership position. It's not easy to acquire a leadership position. You've been there for 12 years. Hats off to you. I just wouldn't want you to exit in such a negative way. You've invested so much of your time, right? So try to have a conversation with yourself and ask yourself, what outcome do you want? Do you actually want to resolve the situation? Because I think one of the things about resolving a situation is, and one of the outcomes you should be thinking about is the different options that can come out of the conversation, such as a leader, okay? I'm big on this as a leader. Your mindset should be ready always to coach and mentor people that's in your team, for example, to take on some of your workload, okay? You've got to redistribute this workload to prepare people to take on some of your, some of your lesser tasks, so you can focus more of the visionary work, right? While they take on some of those administrative tasks, and that will reduce your stress. And that will even show that to your team members, for example, that your direct reports, that you want them to grow, you believe in them. That creates a lot of positivity around you. It really, really does. Now, if you're an insecure leader, and I've been around those people, they don't want to distribute any of their work. They want to keep all their work to retirement and then go, peace out. They don't care about succession planning. So I would really want you to think about, maybe talking with HR with this, and your upper management, your supervisor, of shedding off some of the workload that is stressing you out to competent team members, the people under you. And this is me assuming that you have direct reports, because you said you have a leadership position. Okay, if it's just a project management type work with no direct reports, then it's just that conversation would be more like redistribution of workload, or changing up your the time you come to work, the time you leave to work, just changing those things around. But leadership to me is that you do have some direct reports. So think about distributing your workload. It's really, really important. Okay. And I would want you to really take this moment to take responsibility of how you've contributed to your own mental stress here, because we know we can always blame the workload or potentially blame the colleagues, but you have to take responsibility of you saying yes to a job that, like I said, I don't think you're emotionally ready for. You didn't get the proper coaching. You probably didn't get the right role model in the workplace to copy how to be a leader in your specific workplace. You didn't take the initiative to probably take some courses on leadership. You were there for 12 years. You were like, okay, I've been here for 12 years. I know what to do. Not everyone automatically transitions to be a leader. No, not everyone's born to be a leader. You have to work at it. And that takes a lot of emotional intelligence and emotional regulation. And also a lot of self-understanding. You need to know who you are. So this is a self-responsibility. All right, I don't think you have really taken responsibility of how you got here. Even you not asking for help, that's lack of responsibility for you and your team. You've got to also acknowledge how you got to this level of stress. It sounds to me you didn't speak up, you didn't talk about this, you kept things to yourself. So everything is built up. And now it's like, I gotta get out of here now. Sometimes in life, it says here, you've been looking for new opportunities with no luck yet, right? That's what you said. You've been looking for new opportunities with no luck yet. Sometimes life needs to teach you a lesson. It's trying to teach you a lesson by making you stay there so you can learn the lesson before you leave. Because if you don't learn the lesson that life is trying to teach you right now, you know what's going to happen? You're going to go to a new job and you're going to probably, likely experience the same level of stress again and go through the same lesson again. So I encourage you to sit still, take a deep breath, try some of the ideas that I mentioned to you already, okay? And ask yourself, what lesson am I being taught here? And be honest. It could be patience. It could be, patience with yourself, patience with people. It could be learning humility, learning to ask for help. Okay? It could be, you need to expand your skills a little bit more. If you haven't found a new job yet, it looks to me that some of your qualifications are needs to be upgraded, right? So think about that. But life is trying to teach you a lesson. That's why it's not going to let you go yet. Okay? I want you to learn the lesson, whatever it is, so that you don't have to repeat the test again. Okay? But yeah, until next time, until you get yourself a new job, I need you to relax. Inquire about your EAP programs in your organization. You've taken a leave of absence already, so you may have already used the FMLA already. but it tells me that you have not had those difficult conversations yet with your colleagues, and you're avoiding it because of what people may think or what they're going to say, or you're afraid of what's going to happen with your job. Screw that. All right, you need to at least know that before you leave, you tried everything to try to create a nice ambience, a positive ambience in your workplace. So this is why I'm really stressing to you, we're highly encouraging you to do some inner work, take on some courses, have those conversations, and take responsibility where you are. You're likely not the only one stressed. I'm sure the people you're leading are also stressed as well. You're just a symptom of what's going on there. So if you're truly a leader, okay, number one, you are going to care about yourself first. And once you care about yourself first and do what you need to do, you are going to care about the people you lead as well. And you're going to make proper, sound decisions that with a clarity of mind, calmness of mind, and not this anxiety that's going on with you right now. Leaders don't, real, confident leaders, they're not always in the rhythm of anxiety because they've learned how to overcome by leveraging the different resources around them. So do the work, leverage the resources, and stop acting like, you just started a new job as an intern or something. You're a leader. Grow up emotionally, get healed where you need to get healed, and push forward with some new knowledge. I hope this was helpful to you. Whoever's in a situation like this or something similar, because I know we've all been through this, but I have learned from my experience, no one's going to push me out from no job until I'm ready. Okay? All right? So until next time, please give me a like. All right? Let me know how you found this video. Let me know if you what tidbits you got in this video by putting in the comment section. If you have anything to contribute to this discussion, please let us know in the comment section. We're all here to learn. Don't forget to subscribe, okay? So you don't miss the next video. Until next time, stay blessed. Bye.